In this video, we're going to learn how to factor out quadratics using the diamond method. So when we talk about factoring out quadratics, we're trying to figure out what the two numbers are that when we put it in parentheses, if we multiplied it, it would look like this. So to find those two numbers, we could do one trick which we call the diamond method. It's where we take the two numbers that we see, we have a 6 and a 5. We put the 6 on top and we would put the 5 on the bottom. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to figure out a number that we would multiply two numbers by to get that number at the top. And if we have those same two numbers, they would add to this number here. Or in other words, if we called this A and B, if we have A times B, it would be equal to 6. We have A plus B would be equal to 5. So if we think about it for a second, we're trying to figure out what two numbers can multiply to 6. So we could have 1 times 6, but if we take 1 plus 6, that would equal to 7. It wouldn't equal to 5. So it wouldn't be that number. So another number we could do is we could do 2 times 3. Well, if we add 2 plus 3, that would equal 5. So that would be our two numbers, right? Because those two numbers add to 5, and those two numbers multiply to 6. So we could put 2 here and 3 here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take x plus 2, because that's the number that we have here. Then we're going to take x plus 3. We're going to put it right here. And those would be the two numbers that would give us what the values that, if we factored it out, would look like that. Moving on to the next example here. So we're going to use the diamond method again. We're going to have our diamond here. We take the number that would be multiplied, put that at top. Take the number that would add, we put that down here at the bottom. So again, we have two numbers that if you times A and B would be equal to 12. And those same two numbers, if you added them, would equal to 7. So I always find it's easier to look at the number that you multiply first. So if we know it's 12, what are a couple numbers that multiply to 12? Well, we can think 2 and 6, but if we added those, 2 plus 6 would be equal to 8. So it can't be those. We could also try 3 times 4. And 3 plus 4 is equal to 7. So it would be those two numbers. It would be 3 and 4. So we can set up our parentheses here. And we know that those two numbers that we're going to add are going to be 3 and 4. And that would be our final answer. So taking a look at another example here, we're going to put up our diamond. We're going to have negative 20 on the top. We're going to have negative 8 at the bottom. So when we have a negative number, again, right, we have A and B. So A times B is going to be equal to negative 20. And then A plus B would be equal to negative 8. So we still have to figure out a number that would multiply to negative 20. So we could do a couple different examples, but one of those numbers will have to be negative. So we could take negative 4 times 5. That would give us 20. But if we added those two numbers up, we would get 1. And if we switch that, it still will give us negative 1. So that's not coming even close to what we need. So we could also think of maybe taking a look at 10 and 2. And I would say let's do negative 2. And if we have 10 minus 2, that would be positive 8. So it can't be those, but I know we're getting 8. So we would just need to flip the sign. So negative 10 times 2 will give us negative 10. Plus 2 will give us negative 8. So those would be our answers, negative 10 and 2. We could put those in parentheses, so we'd have x minus 10 times x plus 2. And that would be our final answer for that. Moving on to the next example. So we have x squared minus 36. Now you'll notice we don't have that middle part. We don't have that here, but we can add that in. We can think of x squared plus 0 times x minus 36. So if we put that in the diamond method, we'd have negative 36 on top, 0 at the bottom. So we have to figure out two numbers that when you multiplied them would be negative 36. And if you added them, they would be equal to 0. So again, we want to take a look at the numbers that would multiply to negative 36. We could take a look at 12 times negative 3. And if we added that, it would give us 9, but that's not even close to 0. We can take a look at, say, 6 times negative 6, and that would give us 6 minus 6. So that would be equal to 0. So our values would be 6 and negative 6. So we could put that in parentheses here. Now there's also another trick that you can think about when you see something like this, because teachers tend to like to put this on exams, is that you know that this could be a square root of a whole number, which you know is 6. So usually when you see that missing value, or where you have 0x, and you see a square root of a number, you can think of taking that square root and just plugging those values in. So if you had x squared minus 25, you would know that it's x plus 5 times x minus 5.